The following presentation is brought to you through the paid memberships of NotaryStars.com, the only notary training platform and resource library with over 150 hours of training on every loan product under the sun. Together with our sister website, OnlineNotariesPublic.com, which focuses on notaries who are pioneering in remote online notary, we strive to give you a safe place to ask questions, get answers, gain confidence in your notary career, and achieve success without overfabricating the truths about our industry. If you would like to support us, please consider liking this video, subscribing to our channel, sharing this video with a colleague, or becoming a member and trusting us to help you achieve the level of success you desire.
Well, hey there, friends. If you're new to Monday General Mentorship, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back to the Notary Nerd House. Grab a cup of coffee or your favorite evening beverage, and let's meet your mentors. I'm Beth Hathoot, lead instructor. Ronnie Mickle is here, right there. He's the founder of Notary Stars. Kirsten Bly, your notary liaison. Bill Bumfrey, he's here somewhere. I look like I'm directing airplane traffic, don't I? Okay, I'll stop. Bill Bumfrey, your expert Ron guru, and Manuel Puga, your bilingual Spanish instructor. We hold MGM sessions every Monday, except for holidays at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. That lands right in the middle at 6 o'clock Arizona time. So mark your calendars for future meetings. Please note that we will be closed from December 23rd to January 3rd. No MGM, no live classes, but phone and email support is always available for members all of those days, except for December 25th and January 1st. So Christmas Day and New Year's Day. We'll be here working in the background, put together all things Notary Stars for 2025. Let's make the most of this hour and leave here feeling inspired, informed, and ready to conquer the notary world. We try to make listening an important part of the session, and our purpose tonight is for everyone to have a shared understanding of our industry. Hopefully, you'll participate tonight by raising your virtual hand and asking that one question that's been haunting you. You might be a brand new notary or have 20 years experience, but we think everyone might leave here learning at least one new thing this evening. If you could do just a couple of things to make it a little bit easier, update your Zoom label and put your state abbreviation behind your name. This is a perfect networking opportunity for you. So let others know what state you're in so that they can connect with you and maybe start your own local notary network. Show your face, turn your camera on. It's just so much easier for us when we can see your face. Interacting with us by just watching and nodding and grimacing and shaking your head no or yes, it helps. All of those things, all of those emotions, facial expressions. Get involved during Q&A. Raise your virtual hand to ask questions or participate in a discussion. All righty, Mr. Mickle, I think we're really ready to get started tonight without too much more delay. Do you want to kick us off?
Sorry, it's hard to pin everybody and do all of those things and read the notes and all of those things at the same time. So I do have a couple of things that I want to talk about right at the top of the hour. Very, very important things. We have a major topic that we'll talk about a little bit later that I know some of you tuned in for, talking about how can you really stand out. And Miss Beth also has an announcement as well. So I'm going to start with my two announcements right here at the top of the hour. And guys, I want to tell you, I don't bring these things to you just to have something to talk about. Okay, I bring them to you because these things happen in real life. And keep in mind that Unlimited Ink processes 3,000 plus transactions a year. And we see a lot of things that can happen out in the field to you. And the two things that I'm going to bring up tonight could happen to anyone. the very first thing that I want to bring up tonight is that we had a notary correction last week. By the way, just need to compound this for you so you understand how this could ruin your career or your livelihood. Travis was out. Literally, he called me on Monday and said, "Hey, I'm not feeling well." He was down by Monday night and he was gone the entire week. Okay, one of my managers, Dinah, she was in the hospital last week. She tried not to go. There was one day I was like, "Leave and go to the hospital. We'll take care of everything." We have a 32-person staff over at Unlimited Ink. And then there was one of our managers who's just on PTO vacation. They're out of the country. They can't even log in to help if they wanted to. So, and you know, with sensitive information, we can't. So to bring this to what you should not let happen to you, we had a notary that had an error, and she decided because she had experience and title and escrow, there was an initial that she missed, and they said, "Oh, well, the escrow officer can just have that e-sign." Actually, the signers had refused to e-sign anything because they did not feel comfortable with it. So, as a notary service, my first reaction is, well, if the notary's not going back, I got to have another notary who will ship your documents. We don't tell that the notary is not going to get paid. They were really condescending to our agent, who was very sweet to them. I could play the call because it notifies twice at the beginning of the call that it was being recorded. But what happened at the end of that call was a career defining moment. And you can tell that she really did live up to her explanation. I thought the call was disconnected, but that I thought the call was disconnected is a career ending moment. She was condescending and nice enough to make everything she said before that, "I'm not going back. The escrow officers could have that e-signed." She disconnected from the call and called our employee an effing idiot, retard. Okay. And that's on a recorded line. And most of you should be aware that you're calling in on a recorded line to a lot of signing services, title companies, those sorts of things. You need to make sure, and I'm the king of saying, okay, sometimes when a notary calls for support, I'm like cussing and screaming, but I make sure I don't even touch that phone until I pick it up. And then when I answer it, and you guys have heard this in training, you've heard it over the years, I answer it, "Hello, this is Ronnie," and then I put the phone down. When I'm at a restaurant and my friends are talking about someone else, I make sure my phone is off, that it can't accidentally call someone. I learned that from a friend in college. But this notary, that was sent to signing order. And in their area, she had done 117 signings in the last 6 months. And we were like, we would like her removed because of this. Because the employee heard it and then reported it to me. And I pulled the call thinking, no, surely that, and sure enough, it was. The signing order worked with me. We wound up putting her on a 30-day bar. They were going to remove her entirely, disable her where she cannot come back. That would be 50% of the business out there, because signing order holds about 50% of the signing services out there. That's literally like, I can't go any further. The title company would have agreed with me, and they did, said, "If you want us to bar her from any of our offices, we can do that." I spoke with a notary. They were having a bad day. They made a bad decision. I do believe them. I will work with them, but I am probably the only one that would do that. I am going to give them a second chance. I invited them to come to this community, and let them know that there's love and support every Monday, and Notary Stars offers this kind of support and training. I'm not going to sit up here and say that I don't cuss and scream and stamp my feet and cry and throw things against the wall when things don't go my way, but nobody sees it. Nobody hears it. Okay. I'm being honest. Like, I had a great friend who's one of my great friends to this day from my 20s, who told me a story about how she went through a breakup and she beat everything in her bedroom to death within an inch of it to get all of her frustrations out. And then she said, "But nobody knew I was suffering." And I've thought about that for many years, and you have to be that way in business. So I wanted to bring that to you. And we're going to get to good stuff tonight too. I want to bring you something else that happened in the community. And please go ahead and get those hands raised, guys. Miss Beth has one announcement after this. This one will be a little bit shorter. I want to bring you another first in the notary industry. I'm sure you've never heard of this one before. and it could happen to any single one of us. Okay. I have been on the phone with attorneys all week, and I'm just gonna say it happened on Notary Stars. So Beth and I were at our, what was it, Monday or Tuesday?
It was Monday. It was hell Monday.
It was Hell Monday. Beth and I were on a Hell Monday. Travis is out, Notary Stars, all these things. Beth gets a call, and I am literally on the support call with the notary that I was just telling you about. So it's like, it's hitting the fan always. Ronnie has no support. He's got to handle everything. Beth says an attorney has called from, and we won't say the title company. They're wondering why our training files have this person's personal information in it. And I was like, there's no way, because we create these documents. Like there's no way that, I was like, this has to either be a prank or someone's trying to like shut down Notary Stars. It turns out on the user side of Notary Stars, a Notary Star had uploaded an entire signed package from the signer to public facing view in their resume section. Now, on their profile. Now, there's user agreements from Notary Stars. Anything you upload is on you. And if somebody were to upload this to like Facebook wouldn't be the one to get sued. It would be the person who uploaded it. And that's exactly how our agreements are laid out, terms and conditions. This is something that I just want to make a PSA about, and you should share this with other notaries. Where you download your documents on your computer should be very separate from things that you need to upload later, and your scanbacks. You need to make this a learning experience before it happens to you. And Oprah always says the wall will keep coming for you. When you hear about it the first time, you'll hear about it the second time, and then eventually the wall will get you. Don't run into the wall. I've never heard of this happening, but I got to thinking, and I've given all the support to the attorneys, all the support to the signing service. And by the way, it wasn't unlimited. This was another signing service. And we promised them that this would be part of what we did to help make this better, is to make this announcement. And so the signing service and to the notary, we've been supporting all parties involved. Unfortunately, the notary is probably going to have, excuse my language, AG double hockey sticks to pay for this, because it's been uploaded for 5 months undetected. Luckily, she's in a rural area where she doesn't get a lot of hits. And we can detect how many exact hits there were, so what the damage is. However, you don't want to have to go through this type of internet forensics. So make sure you label your files, that you double check your files. And this goes back to scanbacks. I see notaries all the time uploading wrong things to signing order, and we don't say anything. You have to make sure your digital files are in check. Okay. Miss Beth, we have one other announcement that you're going to bring to everybody tonight about the BOI reporting. And then I think we should go into our main topic and start answering questions tonight.
So really quickly, before we move on to that, Mr. Ronnie, Jeanette has a question in the chat, and it just says, can you repeat where that was uploaded to? So Jeanette, in your Notary Stars membership, you have a profile that is public facing, that you go in and you create a resume and you upload it to your profile. You upload your training certificates. You upload your NNA documents for your certification, Notary to Pro certification. You know, all of those things, you have the ability to upload documents to your profile for people who are looking to hire you can see what your credentials are. That's where she uploaded it. She actually uploaded it to her resume section, an entire file instead of her resume. And that's what caused the ruckus. Okay. Corporate Transparency Act, guys, we've been hearing about BOI, information reporting, now for just about a year. Deadline is January 1st, 2025. Maybe not. There has been a nationwide preliminary injunction against the beneficial owner information reporting. 7 states have filed a case against the federal government, citing the requirement violates our constitutional rights. So that was Alabama, Oregon, Michigan, Virginia, Ohio, Massachusetts, and Texas. The injunction keeps the federal government from enforcing penalties for not filing before 2025 while the case is being heard. So it doesn't mean that you don't have to file. It means that if you happen to not file on time, that the federal government can't enforce those penalties for not filing. If it is determined that the BOI law is unconstitutional, then everything goes away and nobody has to file. Otherwise, if it's found to be constitutional, then we just proceed with the same trajectory that we had before the announcement and comply with the reporting requirements. This is kind of a wait and see situation. So be prepared to file at the last minute if you haven't already. And remember, those civil penalties are $591 per day. Civil penalties are just for being late. Criminal penalties is for refusing to file. Criminal penalties can be imposed at $10,000 and prison, possible prison. So this kind of explains to me, in part at least, why in Delaware and Nevada, the two states where all of the LLCs and the corporations seem to be filed all the time. And it's because they don't have any reporting requirements when forming those corporations. And that's why so many companies shield their identities by forming those corporations in those states. Maybe a few other states too have some of the same guidelines. We will have FinCEN guidance come in and be our guest on the next MGM, which is the 16th of this month, December, during our MGM session. And they're going to give us an update on the status of that federal injunction. So mark your calendars, be sure to pop in on the 16th.
All right, Miss Beth. I just want to go over a few things before we go to the hands raised. I know we have 2 hands raised now. Guys, go ahead and get those hands raised. We have questions that you've sent in. Thank you for that. Kirsten did post in the chat. Somebody asked in the chat, does that apply to sole proprietors? And my answer to that is no, because your name is on the sole proprietor. Correct, Miss Beth?
It depends on the state, actually. If you have to file paperwork in order to get an EIN in your sole proprietor name, then chances are you do have to file.
Okay. And then again, Benson will be here to answer your questions on the 16th. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't go for it. Even if you don't feel that it's violating your rights, you can go ahead and go for it. I think it's a great thing and I think it will pass. But for those of you that are using this as a side hustle, as you know, some people train on, you may want to be careful about pushing it too hard until there's actual court ruling on it, because the last thing you want to have to do is spend money during Christmas that you may have to refund later because you pushed people into doing something that they didn't really have to do in the first place. We don't know how this is going to work out. So maybe be careful with that. And by the way, I'm looking to add it too. I always seem to be the guy that says don't do something that somebody else is doing, but I'm actually looking to add it too. I add everything to my websites that you guys are going to add. I've done everything from My Life and Wishes, Idiomatic, estate planning. I add everything because I want the money too. Let's face it, I want money too. But we have to be careful because the last thing I want to do is do refunds. And you guys know my policy at Notary Stars is I don't do refunds because I do everything right. Before I go on to this next little micro topic that I think everybody should hear, Kirsten's going to post in the chat. We have been doing our holiday contest. There is a way for you to still enter up until a certain date. She'll post how to get into that contest. It's been in every newsletter that we've sent out up till now. We've got our first 4 beautiful, cute little entries. If you don't know how to use the chat, tonight is the time to learn. Make sure you follow us on Instagram while you're there. But we have got some beautiful child drawings, and one lucky child, one of your children, it could be a grandchild, niece, nephew, your child, can win. And I will tell you, there's some aggressive mama out there right now, and I love her for this. Like, I woke up today and it's the most shared thing we've ever done on Notary Stars for both of her kids that have entered. What you do is you have your kid do a drawing. The theme is a starry holiday night. Can be whatever it is to the child or to your family. We've seen all kinds of drawings come through on the floor, and two of them very different from the same family. But they're so good, and Beth keeps saying these kids are so talented. If you have someone in your family and you think that that kid could produce a drawing and a 8.5 by 11, we'd love to see it. We'll get it voted on. And the longer you have it up, the more chances you have to vote. So Kirsten's posting that in the chat right now where you can go review those, make sure to vote on them. And let's move into a micro topic tonight that I have, and then we're going to start answering questions. So make sure you get your hands raised. I want to talk to you tonight. I posted something in our Facebook group. And if you're not in our Facebook group, please go and join it because there's a lot of great information that goes through there. We don't have a lot of the ruckus and things that other Facebook groups have, and nothing wrong with that. But, you know, we kind of train you guys to do things right. So a lot of you need a lot less help. And you know, we call out scams and all these things, and we don't do the whole stamping our feet. We do actual education. And so we post a lot of things that can be beneficial to you. One of the things that I posted was you were born to stand out, not to just fit in. Okay. And I want to talk about this for just a moment. I know that Miss Beth, can you check and let me know if Delora's here tonight? I tried to look up. I think
He's not. I just looked.
okay, good. So that'll get by me a few minutes here. Guys, I want to tell you one of the biggest secrets that I have of standing out as a signing service, as a notary, that if you can implement this, you could be one of my greatest competitors. So I did a whole entire series. It was actually free on YouTube. Now it's back under just the and it's been back for a long time. We took it off the YouTube channel. It's called Customer Service Champions. Travis started that entire series. It's about a 5-video series of knowing your place in this industry. And I want to tell you tonight that the number one thing, and you're going to think, oh my God, this is so cheesy. Did I really tune in for this? But I would love to see some questions on this tonight because I see notaries, and remember, I'm going to remind you, multi-million-dollar company, 3,000 plus transactions a month. I see a lot. Okay. So I'm here to help you. I'm not here to look down on you. The number one thing that I see not that keeps notaries from getting the business and standing out is kindness. And I'm not going to become Ellen. I'm not the kind lady or the kind guy. Okay. Basic human kindness. I see notaries all the time complaining about the signing services, the title companies. Travis did a beautiful, and a lot of notaries will go in and do our loan file training, but then they don't go the beyond Notary Stars training to see everything else that we have. Now, I know that we got some bangers up in here. We got some people that are here every night that have done everything, and anything that we'll put out, they'll do it. But let's face it, after you hit that 150 hours of training, it's hard to keep going. But you have to ask yourself, are you looking for a long-term side hustle or a long-term career? And if you are, then you have to know everything. And this entire website, everything that we do is my brain, Beth's brain, Travis's brain, Kirsten's brain, Manuel's brain, and Bill's brain uploaded so that you can download these experiences into your brain just by watching and listening. So when I talk about kindness, when it comes to running your business, Travis did a beautiful episode within the Notary Stars training platform where he defines your purpose as a signing agent, starting from the time the signer applies for a loan. And it follows through when a person sits down and let's just say Beth says she's going to refinance her home. Who does she contact? If she's going to buy a house, who does she contact? Well, what does that person's next step? Getting to the loan. And then what does the loan officer do? What does the loan company do? And then what happens when it gets to title? And then how title affects. And we often blame title. They are literally one step above us on the totem pole. One step. You know who the ultimate customer is? The signer. The signer gets to decide, am I going to buy a property? Am I going to refinance a property? Am I going to sell a property? But then it's got all this chain of command that it has to go through. And by the time it gets to you, you really are the last person that they see, which is sad that we are the lowest person on the totem pole, but we have the small point. So everybody that we interact with that comes before us, starting with the signer, it's like a mirror connection here. Okay. Everything that we do with that signer reflects on the realtor. It reflects on the loan officer. It reflects on the loan company. It reflects on the title company. And everybody's job in between is on stake. Now, how did I get so successful with title companies, 450 plus and growing? Okay. How did I get successful with these title companies? It was kindness. Understanding my place in that transaction and understanding their place. They are the one who hires me. And I'm able to say, and I'll use Beth's name. Let's say Beth is a escrow officer again, because we all know that she worked in title and escrow. When I understand her job and understand how important it is for her for things to go correctly, and understand my place in that journey, and understand how a lender treats her, and understand how a rent, because if she's a loan officer in a purchase transaction, she doesn't just have the lender breathing down her neck, she's also got the realtor and the signers breathing down her neck. You guys have no idea how easy you have it as notaries. Although we're striving for that business and we can, excuse my language, BI exclamation point, TCH, about everything that we want to. We have to learn how to take all of that and make sunshine and rainbows for our clients, whether it be the realtor or the lender. And generally, you guys are lucky. You either only have the signing service, which is the management company handling all that coming down on you. You have to be able to turn around and give so much kindness in your job. And I will tell you, that is the number one thing that I think has ever been complimented about Unlimited Ink. And the notaries that work with us, even, it's funny, the only complaints we've ever gotten are from notaries who we've had to reprimand for doing something if they have a bad attitude about it. It's the only negative review I've ever received is from somebody who has a disgruntled attitude. You will never see bad reviews from clients or things like that, because we always handle ourselves and we always handle with care and concern. So my PSA tonight for growing your business and how you can stand out, start with kindness. You'll notice that about a year ago, we started starting all the emails here. Hi, friends. Do you know who I learned that from? Literally the president of the Escrow Association. She greets every single person. Hi, friends. And if you follow Notary Stars and you find their account, you'll see everything they do. And for 5 years, I thought, is she fake? I actually called two of her friends and said, is she fake? She's created such a circle around her. She now owns her own title company, or as part of a title company that's starting that one of these big people own. I will tell you that I have seen for fact, and I have implemented it. I was doing it naturally, but then I started doing it intentionally. Our user base, we literally have grown by leaps and bounds this year, going into our sixth year at Notary Stars, because we changed our message. We actually sat back. I don't know if you guys remember 5 years ago, we used to be like, if you don't do this and blah, blah, blah. And it was me. It was just me. And Beth was like, calm down. And, I went in guns a-blazing. We got to do all this and we got to do it right. We changed our message. We became more friendly. And guess what? It didn't just work at Unlimited Ink, because that's who I was trying to appease. But I was naturally trying to appease those clients. I was trying to get the notaries in check on the other side. Change my message. We've literally doubled our user base, because you catch more flies with honey. So that's my PSA for you tonight, is if you want to know how to grow your business, is to start with your homepage. Our new homepage for Unlimited Ink, which will be there soon, starts with hi, friends. All of you don't know it yet, but you have a Hi Friends page coming if you're a Notary Stars member coming in your local area. We're building them behind the scenes right now as an extension of Notary Stars. It's been working. It's been working really well. My marketing students, I see Cookie's got her hand up there, so she already probably knows about it from being in class. I will tell you, I'm not telling you to become the be kind lady like Ellen and not ever be able to make a mistake. But understanding your place and being able to understand Beth's job, and I don't mean as an instructor, as an escrow officer there, being able to understand her job and the pressures that she goes through and what the realtor goes through, you have to know your place and be able to give back as a notary outwardly. And that's just in title and escrow. It's a whole nother topic for general notary work, but that's for another day. Miss Beth, did I wrap that up quick enough so we can get to these questions?
You did. We actually added another one to the jot form while you were yakking. But I think Mark has had his hand up for a while. Let's go to our hands in the gallery and get those taken care of. Mark, do you want to unmute and tell us what's on your mind tonight?
Good evening, everyone. One, I have two things. First thing, I want to say thank you to Unlimited Ink and Notary Stars. I did get my Notary Star as you guys advertised. I love it. But the main thing, the first thing was whenever I have a call from Unlimited Ink, or if I need to call them, they're always there, friendly, supportive, and help guide you through whatever needs to be done. Today they had the title company added something after I had just closed and left and had to turn around and go back. So, they kept me calm and polite and friendly. And I really appreciate that support that they have. So, because I do believe in kindness. And those of you that follow me on Facebook know that I always do a positive quote of the day, because that's the way that I like to start off my day. So the question, though, that I really have, the reason I raised my hand was, I have tomorrow where I am going to be putting someone under oath for a court, because the court is in New York and they're living here in Ocala. And is there a specific oath that I should be doing? I've got my jurat. I've been trying to see if there was any forms on Notary Stars, Notary National Notary Association. I can't find anything specific. I've looked in my handbook. I know that I can do it. I want to know what wording, and do I need to document it in some way?
Yeah, it's a verbal oath, and it doesn't sound quite like a jurat oath. When you are you doing this remotely or present with the person taking the oath?
I have to be actually in person with them.
Okay, so they'll either log in on their phone call, or it'll be kind of like a Zoom call for you.
Yeah, it's going to be a Zoom.
They will want you, and you can ask them, because some jurisdictions are different, Mark. Just ask them, how do you want me to swear your witness in? They will likely want you to require that the witness state their name aloud. Please state your name aloud, Mark. Go ahead.
Mark Miller.
Mark Miller. Mark
Miller.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can leave out the "so help you God." You can ask them ahead of time if they mind swearing to a higher being. If they do, you just stop it. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Mark. You may proceed. What I want to tell you is it's that simple. You just need to pass that by whatever jurisdiction you're going to be swearing them into, just to make sure they don't have any specific requirements. They might want her to state, or him, state his name and date of birth, maybe name and address. So find that out before you get started. What I am going to tell you is usually you're dismissed as soon as you swear them in. So you need to collect your payment and get the signature in your journal first. So you need to be early to that appointment. Having them sign off a verbal oath for deposition in your journal, collect your payment, and then once you have them sworn in, you can say, "Thank you very much. I'm out of here. I'll let myself out."
Yeah, I'm going to be early. I always try to be early to all my appointments and things. So I'm doing that, and I just wanted to see if there was something, because I want to be prepared as much as I can, because this is the first time I've had to do it.
Yeah.
And I know it's something we can do, but I don't think it comes up very often.
It doesn't
And
come up too often, right?
the client is the one that reached out to me, not the courts.
Yeah, they said find a notary to come to your house or your work for this deposition appointment so they can swear you in. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you, Beth.
You
And
bet.
Mark, I just followed you on Instagram to make sure we have you followed. Post your Instagram handle in the chat. I'm always looking for positive inspiration because in such a negative world, we can always use positive. So thank you for being positive and putting that out there. I just followed you back on Instagram, so hopefully we can help you get more likes on those positive vibes that you're putting out.
Yeah, I do that on Facebook, but I'll start doing it on the Instagram too.
Okay, put it whatever you
Thank you,
want.
Ronnie. I appreciate it.
Put whatever you want us to follow in the chat. I can always stand for more positive vibes.
You bet.
Miss Beth,
Mickle.
there was a jot form that came in, and I think it ties into another topic, kind of, sort of. If you don't mind me getting this out, because somebody wrote us right before we started or as we started. Remember this morning when I popped into your class and was like, hey, we have to make sure that we have this done. So I'm going to make this PSA and post this in the chat really quick for everybody. So Miss Beth did a wonderful job writing this article about signature names affidavits not being a valid form of identification. So that's the most that this gets close to the topic. So I'm posting that into the chat now. We want to get that word out there because you're going to be pressured over time to use a signature name affidavit as a valid form of ID when the ID doesn't match. You can't do that. So that's in the chat right now. Now, the reason that jogged my memory and wanted to get that out there was this morning I had to pop into Beth's class because I wanted to make sure I gave her the right answer. So here's the scenario. Husband and wife are signing a loan package. The husband's out of the country. The wife is signing power of attorney for the husband. The signature name affidavit comes up, and it only has this husband's name on it. How do we deal with that, Miss Beth, when it's a power of attorney signing? And I know the answer, but I'm just asking you so you can tell everybody. How do we deal with that when it's a power of attorney signing? Do we ignore the signature name affidavit or do we go?
The signature name affidavit, he's still going to be signing with that POA capacity. The only time he's not using or we're not taking that POA capacity is in the certificate, because that certificate is going to be a jurat. Well, let me back up. In a rare occasion, in an alternate universe, sometimes there's acknowledgments on those jurats, on those signature name affidavits, but typically it's a jurat that's on those documents. So when you're faced with a jurat, he can or she cannot swear that he says something's true. So you can't swear for someone else. So it can't be Kirsten as power of attorney for Ronnie Mickle says it's all true and correct. You can't do that. That would be like Kirsten taking the stand for Ronnie in a court of law and saying, "Oh, judge, I'll swear for him. He says it's all true. I know he says it's all true." You can't do that. So anytime you have a jurat situation, it cannot be Kirsten for Ronnie Mickle as power of attorney. It can only be Kirsten's name, and only Kirsten can take an oath on that certificate.
Thank you, Miss Beth. You know, I just have to say you're the GOAT. And I mean that in the best possible way. G period, O period, A period, T period.
Oh, that
Greatest of all times. Can we go back to hands in the gallery?
Absolutely.
All right, Miss Cookie, you are up next.
Can't do it?
Okay.
There you go.
Hi, guys. I got my first commercial signing tomorrow. Thanks to you guys and your videos. I rewatched the commercial loan signing video. I'm halfway through it, so I feel more comfortable. Actually, I'm not even scared about it. I get more scared coming and talking on this than I do going there. But I have this document and I just have a question. It's the non-competition and non-solicitation agreement. It doesn't look like a loan signing, so it's kind of weird to me. I've never seen one, but there's no like auto settlement, no closing disclosure. It's not a refi. But there's this one document, non-competition and non-solicitation agreement, that has witness spots. Can I be a witness? They just messaged me and said yes, but I trust you guys.
Well, you know, the state of Florida says the notary can be the witness.
Okay, so that is a loan, that's part of a loan.
Well, you have what's truly a commercial signing.
Okay,
We don't have a true commercial signing on the website. We have an investor signing. If you're looking at the one that Travis did that says commercial loan, yeah, that's an investor package, but it's for residential property. It's not commercial property, which is
Okay.
what you have, it sounds like.
Mhm.
So on that document and in Florida, they say the notary can be the witness on those documents. If you're notarizing it, I still would take a step back and take a hard look at it and make a company decision whether I want to put myself in that position.
Notarized.
No,
No.
no, then you can be a witness all day long if you're not notarizing it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys.
You bet.
Miss Beth, I asked Miss Carol to bring her question to the up here, and she's got her hand raised. She's actually got a really great scenario, and this is the second time that we've talked about stamps. So I really want Carol to bring her question up. Can we take her next?
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Miss Carol, if you, there you go.
So I did a signing for, it was a general notary work signing for a fellow notary here in Washington, and went ahead and did it, and they paid me. And then I get a call this week that my notary stamp is too small. I've been using this stamp for 2 years. This is the first time somebody's told me it was too small. And it's only like 1/8 of an inch too small. But I mean, how common is this? Everywhere that I have looked to get a new stamp, their measurements are the same as the one that I purchased.
So 2 questions for you. One, did you check your handbook to see what the regulation size is? And 2, where'd you get your stamp?
I got my stamp. That one I got on a notary website. Yeah, that one I got on a notary website. I didn't get it on Amazon. And what was the first part of the question?
Did you check your handbook for your regulation?
Oh, yeah. She'd actually, the notary that, because I was doing a notarization for her mother, they couldn't, her and her sister were both notaries, but they couldn't do it. They actually sent me the regulation from the state of Washington stating what the size of the stamp is supposed to be. And seriously, it was just so bizarre because and honestly, she also sent me the link for her notary stamp, which is the same one that I ordered.
From the same company?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's totally bizarre. One, that nobody else noticed it before, particularly a county recorder's office, right?
Yeah.
Because they would be looking at that going, what is the matter here? Let me measure that. 2, that your notarization you did for a notary friend's mother would be something that she'd look at and say, wow, that looks weird. Let me measure that. The only thing I can tell you is you probably want to be within regulations. I know it sounds minute or small, but somebody in a county recorder's office or somebody is going to notice that is not size regulation. I'd go back to where you got it and say, I had this for 2 years. I am so sorry. I am noticing that it is not regulation size, and I need to see if you can remake this for me. And see what to do. Yeah.
A couple of tidbits that I'd love to add on that is I only buy my stamps from the National Notary Association. And the reason that I only buy them from the National Notary Association is because if anything's wrong with that stamp, they actually partner with the Secretary of State. They're not a third party. Anybody other than the National Notary Association is a third party when it comes to making notary stamps. I bought a travel stamp from the National Notary Association back when they made them. Okay. And that travel stamp got rejected because it was too small. You can never use a travel size stamp on title and escrow documents. Maybe you can get by on a car deed in state of Arizona where everything's very lax. But my question to you, Carol, is are they measuring it from a scan of the document, maybe, where it might be something that's reduced in size in the first place? Because it's a very small margin of error there. And I'm wondering if they're measuring from a scan or the actual document.
I don't know. I think she said something. I think she measured the actual stamp on the document because that was they went because it was a week or so, maybe more since I did the signing that she called me. So I think she waited until she actually saw Mom and measured it.
And you measured it yourself as well.
Yes.
Okay.
I stamped it on the back of a check I got from you guys, and measured it, and it's like seriously like an eighth of an inch too small, which
So you would have to bring that up to the party that is producing it. But I'd also check with the National Notary Association, and you need to go a step above the people that actually talk on the phone. You need to call them and say, I think this is above your pay grade. No offense to you, but I need to talk to somebody who actually deals with stamps. Let them know that you bought one. I would go ahead and order one from them, and it would be great research. You can write an article for Notary Stars about it. We'll help you do that. Get that stamp from them. See if they'll make you one, because I know certain states you can only have one. You'll have to forfeit another one, but see if they make one and see if it's going to be that size, and keep us posted on that, because this is a thing. But you had another problem a while back about a stamp. And what was that problem, if you don't mind reminding me about that one? Because I want people to hear it.
they did. They put the date on the stamp. My expiration on my stamp was gobbledygook.
Mhm.
The numbers made absolutely no sense.
Mhm.
And I reached out to the company I bought it from, and they sent me a new one. But I don't remember how many times I'd used that stamp before you noticed it.
Oh, gosh, guys, whenever you get a new stamp made, the first thing you're going to do is stamp it on a piece of paper and double check it to make sure it's correct, and then shred that paper. Don't let that be laying around. But seriously,
Yeah.
it's our responsibility to make sure our stamps are manufactured correctly.
It really is.
I know better.
Well, I didn't bring that up to pull you down. It could happen to, here's the thing, guys, when things happen, it can happen to any of us. It could happen to me, it could happen to you. We bring these to fruition here so that we can have it in the back of our mind. And even if we have it in the back of our mind, Oprah says it best, it could still happen to you. It may be a warning sign that it's coming when you hear something. Thank you, Miss Carol, for bringing that up to everybody tonight. And keep us posted as you do your research on that. We would love to have more information on that.
Okay.
There was another question very similar having to do with your notarial stamp that came in over jot form. By the way, guys, if you think of something during the week that you want to present as a question during Monday General Mentorship, and you might forget it, you can always go to our jot form and submit it that way. We keep that on a list. We'll go through those questions as we weave in between live call or live questions and jot form questions. So that's available for you as well. But one that came in, I think yesterday, said, it's from Annika. It said, if the notary stamp, and this is probably a good one for Kirsten, if the notary stamp or seal is not quite dark enough, or if I stamp it upside down and I stamp again on the same page, do I need to cross out the first illegible stamp or just leave it alone? What do you think, Kirsten?
Well, if it's not dark enough, replace the page if you can, if it's like a loan signing and you have that second set of documents with you. If any of those things happen and you can replace the page with a clean copy, do that. First choice, hands down, and destroy the one that you're not using. You can strike one line through, initial that bad stamp, and then stamp again. That's helpful. If upside down, it's not necessary to flip it. Most places will accept it if it's flipped. But I mean, because it's still legible, it's clear. You can place it sideways. Just don't go into the margins of like loan documents or anything, because you don't want it to get cut off. When stamping, one, make sure you always have your stamp inked. It's coming up on the new year. Ink that stamp. Get it ready for 2025. Make sure you have a flat, hard surface when you're stamping. We all know we have those tables that have all those lines and grains, and that'll make it skip a little bit. I have a clipboard with some MDF on the back, so there's no give. So everything stamps very pristine. So that can help if you have one of those tables. But yeah, if you mess up, if it's smudged or not readable, replace the page. Or if you can't replace the page, strike through, initial, and try again. So that's what I say.
Yeah, good advice. And I always kind of shy away from striking it and initialing and trying to restamp if I can get away with that, not doing that. Because listen, guys, the advance of AI, smartphones, iPhones can now lift marks off of documents, remove people from photographs. How easy do you think it's going to be to remove that strike off of that seal and then use that on another document? So I always kind of shy away from that. I'd rather any other option than that. That is a very last resort. Good. John Enriquez in the chat says, sometimes I stamp on my phone to assure a flat surface. Mine would not be flat. I got a kickstand on the back of mine, but that's also a good option. Just make sure you have a flat surface for sure. Let's go back up to hands up in the gallery. Marisol, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, so I recently started, so I've been taking your guys' online classes, and I recently finally started doing my notaries, but I've been getting very little notaries. I'm only signed up for SnapDocs, and I was wondering if there's any other apps that I can sign up for to get more signings.
Well, SnapDocs is a online portal or a platform that you can access. Signing order is another one. We on Notary Stars have 2 lists of companies that you can sign up with individually, right? And we kind of use the rule of thumb that if you don't apply to at least 100 companies, you're only operating at 50%. So if you've only got 50 companies, you've got one platform that you've signed up for, you're operating at 10%. So you need to access those 2 hiring lists on our website and other websites that do a search as well, a Google search, and find signing services, title companies, and apply to all of them.
So I do have the list that you guys have on your website. So do I just go on each one of those companies and go to careers, or how would I go to apply with them?
Miss Beth, can I comment on that?
Oh, I was going to have Kirsten. She's
I have to tell my personal testimony on this. I remember the day that I got serious about being a signing agent. Okay. There was a 5-year period where I was just doing this as a side hustle. I made good money. It wasn't the beginning. It was just I could do it. I was good at it. Then there was the day that I got serious, and then I opened that door of all those signing services, and you ask yourself, I remember being at my kitchen table, which, by the way, at the time, my house had nothing but a kitchen table and maybe a sofa and a TV. That's how unserious I was about this career, that I could just get by. And then I made that decision that I wanted to put my name out there, that I really wanted to work. I grew up and I started applying left and right. And some companies will give you one a month, some will give you 20 a month, some will give you 10 a month, some might give you 5 a month. Some of them may only contact you twice a year, but your name has to be in all of those hats. And I call it the rite of passage as a signing agent. We talked about hundreds of companies, Miss Beth. I just want to correct that. There's about 2,000 companies on our database that you can go through.
Go.
And it is a rite of passage that if you really want to be in this industry, you have to sit down and put your name in everyone's hat. And when the phone stops ringing, don't stop applying, because they could just be busy that month. You want to have your name in every single person's hat so you can weed out who you don't want to work with.
Oh, that's just as important for sure. Mr. Ronnie, we do have a guest in the house. If you would like to see if Delora is ready to take the stage for a moment.
Absolutely. I'm going to make Delora co-host, and then I'd like to ask Desmond to please keep your hand up. Joyce, please keep your hand up. We might run a few minutes over, guys, but I got some wonderful advice for you before we close out tonight. Delora only takes a minute, so I'm going to go ahead and pin Miss Delora up and let you take it away. You got to unmute there, though. There you go.
Hey guys, I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. I think that was the last time I was here. But I just wanted to stop by quick. This is officially your last week of open enrollment for health coverage. If you haven't signed up yet and you're on the marketplace or needing a marketplace plan, Sunday is your deadline to have coverage beginning on January 1st. So it's ultra important to make sure that you have all of your health coverage questions answered and your policy chosen and enrolled in by Sunday. If you do not, then you do have an extra 30 days, but your coverage won't start until February 1st. So you'll be a month without coverage. And then I'm going to be here again to remind you to get that in at least by January 15th, because if you miss that one, then you cannot get on the ACA until 2026. So health insurance is ultra important right now. If you need any help, I'm here for you guys. You can contact me through my website. I'm on the Notary Stars website too. So any way that you need to get in touch with me, I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Miss Delora. And I just want everybody to know I believe in making sure you're covered. Beth and I were talking about this earlier. I'm going through a life-changing event as myself, which means my health coverage will change. I talked about contacting you. It's a great reminder, a little omen, like you only have a week. We have Delora here every month to remind you she's a part of the Notary Stars community where you can get health insurance if your spouse isn't covering you, or you can't get health insurance, or you have a life-changing event. Delora here can help you, and she will tell you if she doesn't have a good policy for you. She's very honest, and that's why she's here, because she runs her health insurance side just like we run Notary Stars. So thank you for stopping in, Miss Delora. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a great week, guys.
Happy holidays.
You too.
All right, Miss Beth, are we ready to get these last two questions up?
We are. Mr. Desmond, your arm looks tired. Do you want to unmute and ask your question?
Good evening. My question deals with Fidelity approved notaries. I recently received an email from a signing service that I worked with saying, hey, we do a lot of Fidelity approved signings in your area. If you're not one, go ahead and fill out this application, send it back to us. So I went ahead and did that. And I had to do get a special screening through, I think, Sterling background checks. I did that and I sent it to them. And I understand they don't look at them every month. I think maybe one day every 2 months or something they do that. But I'm just curious, is require that a signing service present the notary to the Fidelity approvals, or how does that work?
Mr. Desmond, actually just posted an article in the chat for you and for everyone, because this is a subject near and dear to my heart. What they're doing is getting you approved for them. So that means you can work for Fidelity through them because they're a signing service. If you get directly approved, you're gonna see F&F on the email address, and it'll be somebody from Fidelity, and you can approach Fidelity and get Fidelity approved while you're approved. What this is going to mean is that you can only work for them, for Fidelity, for their files. But if you're working with another signing service, they're going to have to get you approved as well. So they have a list that they have to provide to Fidelity. Every signing service does. And you can be Fidelity approved from Unlimited Inc. You can be Fidelity approved from Coast to Coast. You can be Fidelity approved directly. You can be Fidelity, and directly is the best because then you're covered no matter what. And everybody wants a Fidelity approved notary because Fidelity is one of the biggest underwriters of all title companies. They usually use First American, Fidelity, and a couple of other underwriters. So if it's a big title company, they're going to want a Fidelity approved notary for sure. But what this signing service is doing is making sure you're on their list that they're submitting so that they can use you in the future. And that article that I just posted will help dissipate all of that information for everybody here tonight. Does that
I
help?
appreciate it. Thank you.
Does that help you with your question?
Yeah, I'll give it a read, and but I was just curious if it was all, if like they presented and they to the Fidelity, and then they would review them and approve them every other month or something. So
no, they're just going to provide a list to Fidelity and then upload it because they're approved. So now they're just letting them know that their notary base is growing.
gotcha.
But it's specific to them.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. Everybody wants to know about Fidelity approval, and now you've got a blog article you can go back and reference. Perfect. Miss Joyce Mosley, Florida. Hi, Joyce. It's been a while. Thanks so much for being here.
You are our last question.
I'm trying to unmute. Okay, I am there. Okay, hi, Beth and Ronnie. It's been a long time since I raised my hand. I couldn't even find where to raise it. I want to go back to the two witnesses for Florida. I know there are some states that don't require two, but Florida is one of them that needs two witnesses on loan documents. That's not true anymore?
Still on deeds, but only conveyance deeds, Joyce.
Okay.
Yep. So remember, a lender or a title company can require a witness on any document they feel like putting that requirement on. But when we talk about the real estate law that says Florida is a witness state, they're talking about two witnesses on a conveyance deed in a loan signing package. So seller buyer packages.
Right. Okay. All right. Just want to get that clarified. Thank you. Y'all have a good holiday.
Yeah, the change that you probably are thinking about or maybe had heard something about was January of this year, 2024, they started requiring the witnesses provide their address.
Right.
That was the only two witness change for Florida.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You betcha. Happy holidays.
All right, everybody. It is 5 minutes past the hour, and I'm going to ask everybody to turn on their cameras because it's time to give our signature wave. If you haven't noticed, we've started alternating who signs everybody out every night. I'll give my typical, but it's my turn, and I actually have some good, funny advice for you tonight. So if you don't mind, if you are not naked and you are not stuffing your face with a sandwich right now, we don't care if you're tucking your children in. Go ahead and turn on those cameras because we're going to start giving our signature wave. And I'm gonna say it my way this time. Beth always talks about boats and yachts and all these things, but I heard this and I cracked up. And you guys can hate me for it tomorrow. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I want you guys to ask yourselves while you're waiting. Do you think that a crackhead wakes up in the morning and says, "I can't do this"? No. They get up and they go out and find their fix.
Oh.
We are business owners, okay? So tomorrow when you wake up, don't feel like you can't have it. They don't have money. They get out and they make it happen. So you are much better than a crackhead. So get out there tomorrow and you make your business happen. All right, guys, and we will see you next week. I thought that was the funniest thing I heard all week. They were like, never give up. Do you think a crackhead takes no for the answer? And the answer is no, they don't. So you don't take no for an answer either with your business. Let's keep growing together, guys. Good night and have a wonderful evening.
Hey, good night.
Oh, I love your glasses, Miss Beth.